Hello and welcome to our second webinar. Today we are going to talk about digital badges as part of organizational operations or activities. And I will give you some examples how you can use badges quite widely within organizations. And let's start. Why open badges in organization? What kind of benefits do open badges hold in organizational level? I give you 4 examples why every organization should use open badges. The first one is quite obvious: to make competencies visible, to build up the organizations in everyday work, not only the courses or webinars or things like that, but also projects, all the daily work that we do within the organization. It also gives us some hints about what kind of expertise we have in our organization, what kind of skills we think are important, how we can develop and lead the competencies, and how do we assess the competencies. The other one is supporting continuous learning, and open badges give us possibilities to build clear and focused learning goals. There are kind of micro credentials, so they make learning achievable as they kind of put it in a little pieces rather than big entities. And a badge is an immediate, concrete reward for something that you can do or you have done. Here you can see some examples. The examples are in Finnish, but I will tell you what they are about. So we have the University of Oulu, the green one. It says that the person who has this badge is a maker in sustainability, somebody who is keen on developing sustainability. The other one is from Kajaani, and it says that you have something, you have demonstrated competencies for Microsoft skills, and in this badge it's about data analytics with Power BA. So kind of a certificate, you could say. Then we have a badge from City of Riihimäki. It's about communication skills and teamwork. We have badge from Volvo. It's from a course. Then we have Marttaliitto Association, and this is for mushrooms, the mushroom picking course. And then one badge example from Keha Center, which says that the holder of this badge knows about working life and ability to work and things like that. So many examples from the organization. Of course, some of them are from courses or webinars or things like that, but most of them are about something else, about the daily work that we do within the organization.
Savoir si je peux voir les équivalences ou pas, déjà, ça me permettrait de voir
Ça, je trouve ça plus cohérent la VAE de partir posant.
The other two examples why to use badges within organization are about motivation and recognition. Badges give a signal that my skills and competencies are appreciated. And the signal of appreciation can come from the whole organization. It can come from a team, maybe a working group, maybe partner, maybe client. The person who appreciates you can be basically anyone, but badges are a good way to say that I recognize your skills, and it's about, motivation for the people who want to apply for badges. And of course, the fourth one, it's about employer brand, about transferability. I think that one of the things that is really interesting about badges is that how easy they can be shared with others. But also, if an organization issues badges, I think that it says that we are learning orientated organization. It's kind of a mark that a kind of an image for the organization that hey, we have badges, we support learning, and that is something that is quite interesting when you tell other people about your organization. You can say that yeah, we are kind of learning orientated organization. Another examples, some of them are in Finnish, but I will translate them, which are in Finnish. The first one is from our vocational education osa, and it says that you are a Moodle. You have Moodle skills. You know how to use Moodle. The other one is from Kesko, which is this uh, daily food franchise, and it says that the batch is about being a change agent. Sounds pretty good. Change agent. I would like to be a change agent myself. The one in the middle says that you are really a diamond when it comes to skills in working in different groups. You are a person who is really good with working with other people, working in teams. Then we have badges from University of Helsinki. They say that this person has AI compliance. Or a badge from Veikkaus says that about generative AI and co-pilots. And then the last one is from a company, EduCrafter, and this badge is awarded to a person who is a designer in that company. So really different examples. You can use badges. And like I said, not every badge is about a course or about a webinar. Most of them are, in fact, about the daily work, about the projects, about the competencies, but not only the competencies you can acquire by attending to a course or a webinar, but a bit wider perspective of badges. These are some of the important things that I want to share with you. Now, when we are applying badges to our organization, we must make sure that badges are not just a gamification trick. They should be something more. We shouldn't adopt them just because they make learning like gamification. They gamificate learning. That shouldn't be the only reason we use badges. They do that, of course. Badges are quite good example of gamification, but they shouldn't be just a gamification trick. Also, they shouldn't be an isolated add-on. They shouldn't be, something that has no value. You already get a certificate when you attend a training. Why should you get a badge that says the same things as the certificate? Should a badge be something more, not just an isolated add-on, which has no value? We should always think about value of the badge. And the value is something that has to do with our organization's value, but also the value of the person who achieves the badge and wants to share it with other people. And all the badges are not automatically high quality. If they don't have clear criteria, they don't meet the standard, they are not automatically high quality. So we should always check for the quality of the badge. And a good way to do all of these three is to connect the badges to our strategy. Every organization has a strategy. We should somehow find ways to connect the badges to the strategy. We should find a way to connect badges to the organization's competence needs. what skills are important? What kind of competence we value? What do we need to succeed in this world? And if you want to make competence-based badges, also the competence-based assessment should work pretty good with badges. I'm going to talk about badges for trainings and courses next time. So in these next slides, I won't talk about trainings and courses. Of course, trainings and courses are a big part of organizational activities, but next webinar is about trainings and courses, and that's why today I won't talk about these. And I will talk about something else. How to use badges. What kind of examples do we have from organizations that want to use badges? My first idea is about onboarding badges. I found very little examples of onboarding badges. I don't know why, because I think that badges suit pretty well for onboarding. And I think about three things. First, could an organization have these open onboarding badges? Something that are available for everyone. If somebody wants to apply for a job, they have the opportunity to show their skills beforehand. And of course, the organization can check the suitability of the applicant. And I think that this sends kind of a learning orientated organization message to people. So everyone is free. The badges are open for everyone, but maybe you use them mainly when recruiting other people. But in recruitment, I think it's a very good idea to have these open onboarding badges. Yeah. The other one is the start of the employment. When someone new comes to your organization, good badges make that visible and consistent. The badges could be about operating models, the values. You could get, acquainted with the values of this organization, maybe our key systems that we use, the tools, the digital tools that we use in our organization. Could the topics be about security, quality, sustainability? So something that every new employee needs. Could that be with badges? So at the start of the employment, you could get to know the organization by doing badges. And of course, when you are in an organization, we have different roles, we have different tasks. Could the badges help you familiarize yourself with some job duties? For example, if if your job is changing or you have to adapt to something new. For example, you have been granted the supervisor role. Could there be a badge that says that I will help you know the basics of being a supervisor or basics of this new specialist task, best project practices and things like that. And again, I have some examples for you. The first one is the pink one. It says that this person knows how to bind different kind of, cuts if you fall down or you get some cuts to your knee or somewhere else. This person has a passport that says that I can help you with the wounds, with the cuts. So something that when you have this kind of passport, you can go and work with the task that require that you know how to attend wounds. The other one is for sustainability again, something that is very important in my organization. So we have a badge about that. The green one says that you get familiarized with being a teacher tutor, that you tutor other teachers, and that's your role. And this badge is for people who go through this kind of a familiarization project that helps them to become better teacher tutors. OSAO has the digital badge. When you come to work in our organization, you get acquainted with the digital tools that we use. Or the Finnish Business School graduates, the last one in the lower section. It's about working life skills. Welcome to our organization. Here is a badge about working life skills, so you can get acquainted with that. Well, then the other badges are for development. The first ones were about onboarding, and the next ones are for development. Of course, the competence management as a whole in the organization. But one of the things that I find the most interesting are the badges that support change. Every organization is going through some changes in different phases of their existence. Maybe it's a structural change or something else, but could the badges help us visualize the change? Help us to understand what kind of new skills we need when this change is happening. Do we need some new competencies, roles? How do we go through this change in our organization? Could the badges be a part of development discussions? We're in Finland. We have development discussions every year where we set goals and we see that what kind of skills and competencies we have. Could the badges be a part of that? That an organization could check once a year what kind of badges does a person have and what kind of badges should they have. We work in different work groups, we have different responsibilities, different roles, we have successes. Could badges celebrate those successes? Could they recognize when we are in a specific role? We participate for work groups. We participate in different kind of things. So could the badges be something more than not just competencies, but successes, achievements, participations, and things like that. And maybe internal career paths. Could we have a dream badge? This is something that I want to do within 5 years. And here is a badge for me. And now I'm going to climb my way and do my things so I can be in that role within 5 years, for example. And again, some examples of these badges. The first one from Oulun yliopisto, Oulu University, is about being a speaker who is quite brave, a brave speaker. I would want to be a brave speaker. I would like to have that kind of badge. The other one from Edusta is about being a change agent again. Then we have MIB, a mentor. I have this role. I am a mentor. The other one is being an educator. And I am in a work group that develops education and things like that. So badges have much more potential than just be about courses and webinars. And then some more examples. Could the badges be about collaboration and the image of our organization? Could we have shared badges with our partners? I think they are a pretty good quality label. When we share our criteria together, we can recommend each other. We can have, recommendations that are mutual. If we have multiple issuers for our badges, we have much more impact for our badge. If only my organization issues the badge, of course, it's a good thing, but if multiple organizations issue the same badge, maybe the impact would be more. The participation, I already mentioned it, but besides seminars, workshops, events, the activities that you do, the self-development, I think a badge could tell about that a person is active and wants to develop herself or himself. Maybe volunteering. There is an example of the badge from Paris Olympics about volunteering. And of course, the learning orientated image that, yes, in our organization, we issue badges, we encourage learning, we identify and we recognize competencies and things like that. And you can also issue a badge to an organization. We are quite used to issuing badges for a person, but we have some examples that you can issue a badge for an organization. And the orange one is one example. We issue this badge for other educational institutes that are competence based in their education. So we want to support them for being an organization that is competence based, or a badge that says that yes, this organization has high quality about something. So also organizations can issue badges to each other. So not only persons, but I think that persons are the way that we are used to do, but that's quite interesting to issue a badge for an organization. This is one example of a kind of badge profile that we could use, some, visual image to say that what kind of badges we already have. In this picture, there is, 5 different types of badges a person can achieve. And this image it tells us in what level in each of these competencies a person is. And you can build almost anything with badges about these competence profiles. We could have different kind of competence profiles within our organization. We could have multiple different competence profiles, and each profile could consist of different kind of badges. And then the visual image could be something like that, that says that, okay, in this competence and skill, you are on that level. The other one you still need to work on, and things like that. So competence profiles suit quite well the open badges. Well, how to move forward? I have some tips for you. I already said that you should somehow bind the badges to the strategy of an organization, but also the core activities. What processes we can recognize from the organization that could benefit from badging? Where do the badges have the most value? What kind of processes and activities and things like that are good that we need badges for? Badges should be something as part of everyday work, not separate, but something that is linked to the things that we already do in our organization. So not an add-on, like I said in the beginning. And always clarify the benefit for the individual, for the person. Why the badges? Why should I apply for the badges? What is their value and meaning for me? Give me some examples where I can use the badge. So these 3 things. And then I have some examples for you. The things I've heard people say about badges, and some good things about badges that I would like to take in for me as a badge developer. So the first one is from an organization team leader who said that not all competence is developed in formal training or in informal training. Everyday work is also valuable evidence of competence. So digital badges are much more than just badges for training. They are for everyday life in organization. They recognize development, experience, also the self-directed learning. So everything that we do every day in the organization, badges could be a part of that, not only the formal training. The other one is from also a leader, and I think this is really wise. Digital badges are not a means of control. They are not used because we want to surveil our personnel. They are not a ranking list. And the purpose is not just to collect as many badges as we can. There is something else, not a way to control us, not a way to put us to a list that this person has that many badges and the other one has none and things like that. This is from a teacher within an organization, and he said that digital badges help us to make strategy concrete. Strategies are quite abstract and they are sometimes missing from our daily activities. Badges are a good way to make sure that our organization strategy really comes down to the everyday actions. So some of our strategic priorities, we can build competencies and badges about them. And those competencies become badges, and badges become everyday actions. So piece by piece, we can make the strategy visible in our everyday action by badges. I think that's a really clever idea. And the last one is this is from a team leader also. So digital badges are sign of learning oriented culture. So development is allowed and encouraged. Learning is a part of work. It's not an add-on or something that we do just because the badges are neat and we want to use badges. Learning is part of the work and we make the badges fit our everyday life within our organizations. To these words, I will end today's webinar, and next time we will discuss about the training and courses and webinars because it's also a really important thing. So I wanted to, concentrate to that aspect in a whole webinar. But thank you for attending this webinar and see you next time.